member was returned to you. Liz Naftali, thank you very much. Appreciate you sharing your story with us. Want to continue this conversation with our panel of lawmakers, Congresswoman Kat Cammack of Florida and Congressman Greg Murphy of North Carolina. Welcome to you both. Congresswoman Cammack, this is how the Times of Israel characterized the current hostage deal. They cited two Arab officials who the paper said, quote, Trump's envoys swayed Netanyahu more in one meeting than Biden did all year. In my mind, this shows how little respect Democrats command on the world stage. What's your reaction to that?
Well, and I apologize. I think we're having some tech issues on our side, but you know, we are ready 4 days and counting, if you don't count today, for Donald J. Trump to take office. And let me tell you, there will be no doubt. Equivocal, and he has been absolutely clear about where he is at. They need to be released. And I know that a lot of people have concerns about this deal, but I know that President Trump will do everything he can to bring all of the hostages home, not just the Americans, but all of the hostages who were taken by the Hamas organization, the terrorists that absolutely need to be wiped off this earth.
Congressman Murphy, I hope you can hear me. Our communications are established, hopefully stably enough. Many Jewish organizations are expressing concern about this deal. The Zionist Organization of America slammed the deal, saying Trump would come to regret it. Quote, as much as Israeli citizens and decent people everywhere will rejoice if any of the hostages are freed as a result of these negotiations, the motivation here seems to be primarily one of the optics before the inauguration and the start of the second Trump presidency, end quote. Now, I don't recall those same concerns when Iran took hostages under another weak Democrat, Iran releasing hostages fearing what Ronald Reagan would do to them. Do you see any pitfalls with this deal?
Yeah, well, see, you know, it's interesting to see that despite all the machinations that went into it, I find it farcical that Biden's taking credit for this. But there are going to be folks that don't think it goes far enough or doesn't do more than what it is doing now. Good Lord, we do this in the House of Representatives now every day. But that fact is that he has delivered. He came in, and Hamas knows that he is serious about what's going to happen with him, and that we have a package that will bring the hostages home. I don't like the fact of them releasing terrorists back into the organization. But, you know, at some point in time, you have to let the dust settle and actually get something done. And that's what President Trump has done.
Yeah, the release of accused terrorists is a big concern for a lot of people out there, in particular on the ground in Israel. Congresswoman Cammack, I want to switch gears onto what's going on Capitol Hill. CBS News reporting that Congressman Mike Turner was kicked off the House Intel Committee following concerns from Mar-a-Lago. Listen.
I spoke with him. He told me this afternoon Speaker Johnson called him into his office and told Mike Johnson to fire the man overseeing the intelligence community who has access to some of the nation's greatest secrets.
To me, it's telling that Turner would go to a left-wing, unfair CBS employee pretending to be a journalist. Margaret Brennan would go on to say and complain about Trump, quote, politicizing intelligence with this move. But isn't Trump doing the exact opposite by removing folks cut from the Liz Cheney cloth, Congresswoman?
Yeah, you know, this is interesting because I remember so vividly the fight that we had when it came to FISA just last year. And I was one of the individuals who demanded the constitutional protection of all Americans. And that if you want to spy on Americans, you better have a damn warrant. And I know that that was contrary to what Congressman Turner wanted. And we had some very intense conversations. Now, of course, I was not privy. We were not privy to the conversation between Representative Turner and Speaker Johnson. So it is concerning that that conversation has been leaked. But what I do know is that President Trump understands that we are operating under a very tight timeline. We have very, very aggressive agenda to get across the finish line and a very short amount of time to do it. So he needs the right people in the right place to get the job done. And so I applaud the president. I applaud him for taking the initiative to get things done. And in regards to this has been a controversial issue. And President Trump is serious about protecting people's constitutional rights. So we'll see what happens moving forward.
And Congressman, President Trump is making it very clear this time around, if you are part of this Democrat enabling wing of the GOP, he doesn't need you around his administration. Here's a list of people and their associates that he is banning from his administration, his orbit. The moderate Koch brothers, John Bolton, Nikki Haley, Mike Pence, Dick and Liz Cheney, Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan, Mark Milley, Mad Dog Mattis, Mark Esper, just to name a few. This signals to me that President Trump learned much from the sabotage that was dished out by so-called Republicans in the first term. Isn't this why the corrupt establishment went extra-constitutional to prevent his re-election? They wouldn't be able to undermine him this time.
You know, that's amazing because, you know, the president received a mandate from America. He won not only electoral college, but he won the popular vote. And he gets to determine who is going to help him with his presidency, period, point blank. And you go back to intelligence, you go back to other facets where recommendations are made or people have influence. He has the right to have his people in those places. And yeah, it's, you know, politics is a tough business where you get to push people aside that don't agree with you and don't are helping thwart your agenda. That's what the president got his mandate for, and he gets a right, good, bad, or indifferent, what some people think, to push his people in the forefront and push others out of the way.
Congressman Greg Murphy, Congresswoman Kat Cammack, thank you both. Appreciate the time and the discussion. Straight ahead on the Chris Salcedo Show, preparations are underway for President Trump's second inauguration, but there are fears out there about alleged threats facing the new